In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Alt Kings podcast. My name is Corbin, and this is my co-host,
Tate.
And we have a very, very special interview for you, spicy ladies and gentlemen, today. We have the one, the only HBARMORY, or should I say Bones, from HBARMORY. How are you doing today, brother?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me. It was quite the intro.
I appreciate that, brother. That's quite the compliment from you. Cool, man. So give us a little bit of an overview on HBARMORY.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it would probably be best to start off with just kind of how the project started.
Yeah.
To where it is now, and that would be, October of last year was really when I knew of NFTs, but I didn't really know how to get into NFTs or what I was doing or anything like that. And at the time, I saw, I believe it was Patches. I want to say Punks posted their first flyer, and I had seen it pop up, and I'm like, yo, NFTs are coming to Hedera, like, let's go,
It's the future.
And
yeah,
I mean, and I've been following Hedera for a while, so I was like, yeah, I want to try and get involved. And yeah, I didn't know if I had intended to start a project at the time, but I was like, all right, cool, let's download some like pixel art stuff and just start messing around. And I really, with the intent of just kind of making something cool and seeing if people liked it. And that was kind of how I came up with the project. Was I just ended up going off of what I knew, which is old school sci-fi stuff and things that I really enjoy. And people, when I would post it, were like, hey man, like, that's cool, where do I get that? I'm like, okay, like, what the heck, I didn't expect that. I was just kind of posting my own thoughts out there. And so then we decided to launch HBARMORY, and it's been kind of a wild ride. So we started and pretty much sold out of everything with like the first 2-3 drops almost immediately, which was just fantastic to get that from the community. Yeah,
absolutely. Congratulations, man. That's great.
Congrats.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
what was the inspiration for the project? Like, what made you choose the designs you went with the helmets and stuff?
I mean, obviously I played Halo a lot growing up, Metroid and that sort of thing. And I did try to stick to that sort of style. And everybody says that it reminds them of that. So I hope it seems like it was portrayed across. But I mean, that's just to me is just, when I saw it, I'm like, all right, that's cool. Like, I think that this is cool. So if I think it's cool, there has to be at least one other person out there that's going to think it's awesome. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that was really how it started. And then we just brought it into, what HBARMORY is today. And, we've got, different chalks that we launched with different colors with the first helm. Mm-hmm. And now we're rolling it into a few different helmet designs to wrap up the Gen 1. And then we're going to move it into Gen 2. And that was kind of the intent of the start of the project, is to, really figure out, where we're going with it, and then make sure we provide value moving into Gen 2 as well. So it's been pretty crazy, man. And like, the community is awesome. I really I don't know if it's a fluke or whatever, but I mean, we really have gotten lucky, I think, with just how welcoming the community's been, and really just the overall, sentiment with everybody supporting the project.
That's great.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, you've built a seriously strong community, man. Like, kudos to you. I love being in your server, man. That's like one of my go-to servers now. I guess I should say also, full disclosure for the viewing audience, I have quite a bit of skin in the game.
He's a whale. He's a whale.
Hey, chill. Hey, bro, why you gotta call me out like that, man? Jeez. Oof. But yeah, it's really impressive what you built. You're about to reach 1,200 Discord members now?
Yeah, I want to say close to 1,200, and we're pretty close to 3K on Twitter, which is Twitter for NFTs is like where it's at.
Yeah,
that's like, wow, you don't have an Instagram or you don't have a TikTok or something. It's like, dude, it's like crypto Twitter, man. Come on.
That's all you need is Twitter.
I feel like they should spin off Twitter into crypto Twitter, like as its own platform. I think that would be a really cool idea.
Or its own section of Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they're starting that already with the NFT PFPs, so people can just fully display, their degen status.
But they have to. Well, especially because it's on Ethereum. That's especially
sad.
Ugh.
So sad.
So sad.
Why'd you choose HBAR?
I mean, HBAR. I mean, to say why I chose it, I kind of have to roll it back to like January of last year when I first really got into crypto. And I mean, if I could go back and look at my accounts, which I mean, I'm gonna have to here pretty soon because taxes, and like go back and check out all like the trading and stuff that I was doing. I mean, I was in ETH and trading on MetaMask and all kinds of altcoins and shit coins and what have you. And I had actually bought HBAR because I had the Voyager app and I had bought HBAR earlier in the year, but I didn't really. It's kind of embarrassing. I didn't really know what it was. I was like, oh yeah, HBAR's on Voyager. Like, I'll buy some of that at like 8 or 9 cents or whatever it was. But I didn't really like read into it, And then I had actually sold it at one point, so I had no idea really. I was just trying to learn what was going on, and after I had gotten into it and done the research, I came back to HBAR and just kind of like it locked in, and I'm like, this is the one. You know what I mean? This is where this is where it seems to me that if this was the dominant tech, like how come nobody sees it? And honestly, since I've been in it, and I'm pretty sure this happens to everybody, is just you wonder why people aren't seeing it. Because it's like, how is this not already taking off? And I think it's just that the community's young at this point, and we are missing some key stuff that is coming. But that was why I chose HBAR. It's like, okay, cool, so I can go here. I thought about ETH or I guess BNB or whatever, but really when it came down to NFTs, like I saw Punks pop their initial artwork up, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do NFTs on HBAR because HBAR is the future. I mean, it wasn't really a thought of like, well, I could go to Solana or whatever or anything like that. It was just, I'm going to launch on HBAR because it is what it is,
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about the crazy gas fees.
Yeah, exactly.
You had your fair share with that.
Or the unreliability of Solana.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, and dude, that is so not talked about enough. And I've said this before. I think that when we talk about HBAR or crypto in general, if you're technologically savvy, which I'm not, but I do know somewhat of the background of it, the back end tech, when you really get into the weeds of it, people zone out. You know what I mean? You gotta talk, you gotta use I used to do like high-end sales, and if you don't talk to people like in a 5-year-old language,
I was about to say the dumb words. You got to use the dumb words so they understand.
That's why we're here.
And it's not, and it's not negative either, because the average person, I think, communicates at like a 3rd grade level or something like that. So, but if if I go onto this big rant and say, it's a Byzantine fault tolerant, and here's how the nodes talk to each other, and people are like, Jesus, are you gonna shut up? You know what I mean?
All right, Dr. Lehman, chill.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. Whereas if I'm like, hey, you really can't DDoS HBAR, so do you want to get DDoS or do you or do you not? And people will probably go, okay, that makes sense, instead of going into the whole side of it. So yeah, that was the easy one for me. HBAR's all the way.
Do you have any like previous design experience in like your background or anything as well?
As far as like being artistic or any design stuff? I mean, when you bring design into it, I guess, without doxing myself too much,
fair.
I did do. I was a landscape designer for quite a few years, so I did a lot of stuff like that. But nothing like art on paper. Without, it was placing things in certain places and setting moods in certain parts of the yard and that sort of thing. So I didn't really think about it. That's kind of a funny question that you asked, because I didn't think of that as being artistic, but I have done that for quite a while, so I guess that does play into it.
Yeah, I feel like landscaping is more of like a utilitarian art which honestly kind of translates into your artwork as well, because your helmets kind of remind me of like if Master Chief had a Game Boy Advance game.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is what makes it really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. There is something with pixel art, man. I'm telling you, it's a lot easier than it looks on the outside. So even when I first picked it up, you know, I mean, you look it up and you're like, okay, it's a bunch of squares together.
Yeah.
That, you know, okay, that's hard. You know what I mean? Like you look at it, I almost looked at it as like a joke, and I struck some flack for saying that, but it was like, there's no way that this is that difficult. And when I started doing it, you know, I immediately had this huge respect for people that, especially back in the NES and like Super Nintendo worlds, when they first started doing pixel art and making these games, it's like, holy shit, you know, like these people were really talented, and you know, it's a huge art form itself. But unless you start trying to do it, you don't really have the appreciation of it, I guess. So massive. I have a long ways to go, but I'm learning every day.
Hey, it's all good, man. That's all part of the process.
Yeah, I got a pretty big background in Minecraft pixel art from the past.
Yeah,
okay. I respect
it's
that.
Very similar, though.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah.
I've seen those videos where people make, you know, big portraits or whatever on there,
murals.
which is, yeah, that's sick.
Mm-hmm.
Same concept.
So
exactly. Why Bones as your username?
I mean, that started off, so that's a whole other story as well. You know, I was just gonna roll with HBARMORY forever. It's like, all right, cool, HBARMORY. You know, even though it's not the most easy thing to say, like everyone butchers it on spaces.
Real quick, can you give us some highlights of what are the worst butcherings you've ever heard?
So here's the thing. I do feel like if you just look at it, it's like, okay, it just says HBARMORY. Like that seemed to, I did not think it would be such a tongue twister, but every time I get in there, it's like HBARMORY, you know, HBARMORY, you know what I mean? And it gets cut up. Like, I don't know. I think it's straightforward, but it's because I made it up. Maybe I'm just trying to tell myself that it's like not a horrible name. You know?
No, that's fair. Yeah, no, you're good.
It's very clever. I really like the name.
Yeah, it's good.
But Bones came about. It's really funny because Patches from Punks actually a while back was like, dude, you need an artist name. You know, like you can't just be HBARMORY. And I was like, yeah, okay, dude, like I'm HBARMORY. It's the project. You know what I mean? And he must. I mean, most of the stuff he said to me has been right. Let's just say that. I'm pretty thick-headed.
Oh, real quick, for Tate and everybody listening, Patches helped create CryptoPunks and also Turtle Moon Tools, I believe, right?
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Yeah. So that's a good point.
That's a big guy in the space.
Yeah, he's real big.
Yeah. So I guess I should have brought that up. I forget that you guys have an audience that's not just HBAR. So yeah, he made he made HCraft Punks along with his team, and Renly did the art, and then they've got Ping as their CEO, I think, or C something. He does all the legal stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they made that. He's had a big influence on me. He's helped me a ton on the project. Being like I mean, God, cannot tell you how many times I've DM'd him, hey, you know, what do you think about this? And he gives me advice, you know, back and forth. So I've probably taken up, you know, 50 hours, 60 hours of his time, just him helping me out with stuff. So I cannot thank him enough. First off, I'll say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he brought up the whole point of having a name, not to get too sidetracked. And,
no, you're good. You're good.
He brought the point of having a name, and I just kind of brushed it off. And then when we added you know, admins, and we added Binx on the team to help me out with all the stuff that's going on with all the drops and everything that she does, and keeping track of everything, which is like a huge lifesaver. It was like, okay, so when I talk about myself, am I still, you know, HBARMORY from HBARMORY? Like, it just sounds dumb. You know what I mean? And that's just brought it up again. He's like, dude, you need a name. And he actually had mentioned the name Bones, and then we went through a period where we were, you know, talking in the mod chat saying, you know, what do we call you? And it was just, we threw all these names out there, and a bunch of them came up, and that was kind of the one that stuck overall. So I mean, it really was kind of more like a community thing than anything, but it was almost, you know, we had to come up with something because it just it couldn't continue to be HBARMORY from HBARMORY.
Yeah, that's fair. How did you actually like find Binx as your your co-admin, I guess you could say. Was she just in the server a lot, or?
Yeah, she's been around the server a lot, and then she's just really good with like spreadsheets and stuff like that. I mean, and like the overall admin stuff. So like if if you're a smart person and you have a coding background and you can pull all the data off the net, which would be ideal, you could probably have done things a lot easier than we did when we first started. But again, it's just we were kind of making everything on separate token IDs and keeping track of it manually. So doing that along with keeping track of who's buying what, the price, everything like that, like it really when we wanted to bring utility into the project was something we had to kind of like backtrack and figure out how to track it. So that was where she really came in and saved me a bunch of time, because being an artist on a project is great, but if you're not going to have all the pieces in place to do it super easily, which you need coding and you need a database to track all this stuff, it's not like the easiest thing to do by yourself. It's like a full-time job plus extra. You know what I mean? So
it never ends.
Yeah, you got to have an extra set of hands around. She's been like, dude, save my ass a bunch of times on a lot of stuff, and thank God we're getting better, though. We've got some scripts and stuff on mainnet that's helping us keep track of everything a lot better. But it is, I mean she's in Discord all the time and a big part of the community now, so it's been great, and we definitely plan on adding more people as we grow into the next part of the project. So
the more people the merrier, because your little shindig you got going here is definitely not slowing down anytime soon, that's for sure.
It's only going to speed up.
Yeah,
it seems that way. It seems like we're on the edge of the HBAR and the NFT marketplaces over here blowing up big time.
So speaking of, so I'm going to ask you a question. All right. So this is kind of like you've heard of the State of the Union, right? In America, right? Yeah. So I want you to give me a State of the Union, but we're going to call it the State of HBAR. The State of the HBAR. So basically I want you to just give a little overview on how HBAR is for creators and users as of right now, in terms of like all, whatever you want, how easy it is to mint, marketplace, community.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I would, yeah, absolutely. And I'll give it from a creator standpoint.
Absolutely.
In the stance of, I would say that right now, it's probably, it's extremely easy to mint, just because there's quite a few people in the community that you can do this with, right? So we've got like Dpub has their own minting tool, Turtle Moon Tools has their minting tools that if you do need a little bit of coding experience to crack that egg right now, but I know they're working hard on getting something else out. You've got what is it? Crypto Dogs, he's got his minting tool. You've got Hash Dude. So there's not necessarily a big flagship you can mint here that we have right now, which we used to with Zact, but I think there's more coming that way. Yeah. and to be fair, like I love Zact, and they are going to be coming back, I believe it. But yeah, that was the ideal time. So back when in October we could just mint on web.wallet.zact, and that was super clean. And now that we have some other solutions. So minting is actually pretty straightforward. You just got to, I guess, dig a little bit and talk to a couple people, and you'll figure it out. As far as being a creator on the network, I think it's amazing. I think everybody that is out here is really just trying to empower people and make it fun and enjoy everyone's art. You know what I mean? So there's from that angle of it, I would say it's amazing. If you're looking at coming to a network, that would be it'd be my first stop. And especially because if you're if you're looking to go somewhere and you look at like Solana or ETH or BNB, it's pretty saturated with projects. Whereas if you look at Hedera, there's not. I mean, we're getting there. There's a lot more projects coming, but I think you got a better chance of getting some spotlight because the whole ecosystem's early.
Oh yeah.
Now, as far as markets go, we we just started to get ones that are coming online, which is, kind of funny because when you think of, hey, yeah, we're great for NFTs, but we don't have secondary markets. And it's like,
it's called Discord.
Yeah, and it's like it's Discord and secure trade. And before we jump into that, I will say, Hashpack's done a fantastic job with their app as well.
Yeah, kudos to them.
Yeah, I can't forget them. So they've done a good job with all their secure trade stuff, and it sounds like they're doing a lot more in the future. But markets, we have Zeus that just came up, which as long as you've minted on one token ID, which unfortunately for us right now, since we have been around and we're old school, everything we minted was on separate token IDs. But that actually talked with them recently, and I think they're gonna provide some support as well. But anyway, not to get into the technical side of it, we've got markets coming up. We've got markets coming up left and right. I know, Zeus is up. We've got, I think Depub's got one coming up pretty soon. We've got, God only knows if NFT.com when that's going to be, but when they
Plural as well.
Yeah, Plural as well. And whoever saw, whatever NDAs they've got going on at NFT.com, like they've got people at like gunpoint or something, dude. Like
they're rock solid.
Yeah, it's like, dude, it's more secure than like Area 51 or something. I don't know. They got something going on over there, but no, it's like 0 leaks, which is just crazy because everybody's waiting on that. But to me, it feels like we're on the edge of something huge where everything just kind of seems to be falling in place. And here pretty soon we've got Saucer Swap coming online, which to me is probably. I almost don't even want to talk about it selfishly because I want to make sure I get some of their NFTs, because if you look at the way that the markets have behaved or other chains have behaved, it seemed to me, and this is just, I could be completely wrong, this is my opinion, it seemed to me that Solana really blew up when they got a big market like Magic Eden or something like that, and and they got things in place where it made people able to exchange value really quickly and easily. So I think that was a big part of it. And then when you look at like Phantom, which I'm not a big fan of Phantom because I think they ripped off Hedera, but they have their DeFi protocol that's got, this the other day they surpassed BNB with more total value locked in their protocol on Phantom. Yeah, so that's huge. So if Saucer Swap, yeah, absolutely. So if Saucer Swap comes out and performs at the level that they say they are, which I'm not saying this negatively whatsoever. I don't know their project, and I'm praying that they release something that's just amazing, because I'm going to invest in it, but two, I think if that does really well and they keep up their side of what they're saying they're going to do, I think that Hedera is going to get a lot more value locked, because right now we have zero. We have zero DeFi protocols, you know what I mean? So having even just one, I think, is going to be huge, and I have no reason to think that they're not going to perform well. I've listened to their interviews and they sound very smart. I like the way that they're doing things, but I think if you look at it from that angle, it's a young network. We don't fully have DeFi yet. We're just getting off the ground. I mean, literally just getting off the ground with NFTs. So, extremely early with NFTs. Once all of that gets in place, I think that we're going to fly. So it just depends on, when all that falls into place. And I'm bullish overall.
Oh, for sure.
If you couldn't tell.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's HBAR is actually kind of interesting right now, especially because it's not too new that you can't actually like do things with your NFTs, like with XRP right now. Like Tate and I both got quite a bit in XRP NFTs, and you can't mint anything right now. The protocol hasn't been implemented into the actual XRP ledger yet, but it's not old enough that the market is so oversaturated that it's hard to find good, genuine projects. Yep. Plug for HBARMORY on that comment, by the way. So yeah, it's kind of in like the perfect middle ground right now of, yes, there is no liquidity in the market for the most part right now, but at the same time, if you ride the wave for NFT.com and Plural and all of these things that are literally being worked on right now, could potentially see some upside. Which
if you just
is not
sit back
financial
and
advice.
hodl like you're supposed to with crypto,
Like you're supposed to, yeah.
that's all
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, and honestly, I do think that we're seeing a lot of that in the space right now with some of the big projects that, you know, I keep thinking back to, I saw an interview probably like a month and a half ago or like 2 months ago with Gary Vee, and I like Gary Vee. I think he's a good guy.
He's a goat.
And, yeah, and he was basically talking about, I'm probably going to butcher this because it's been so long and I'm terrible at telling stories, but he basically said something along the lines of like, you know, be patient with the artist, you know, don't bullshit people, you know, and say like it's not gonna sell till I die.
It's a rug. It's a rug.
Rug it!
And then and then like a week later when they don't deliver what you wanted, you know, you shut them down on the internet and then sell off. You know what I mean? He's like that's fine, you know, make profit, but you know, you got to be patient with it. And I think that we're not seeing. Not that we're not seeing it. I think some people are going to be real upset when they sell some of this stuff and people actually deliver on some of their projects, you know, and I mean, even if you just look at the success that NFTs have had in Hedera, just the big ones, you know, like if you look at LSH has gone up quite a bit. Now they've had a cool off period, but you know, people don't see what they're building in the background. You know, they've announced they've got farms coming and that sort of thing. We've never even had something like that on Hedera yet, where we have, you know, NFTs to lock for, you know, paid tokens or NFTs to lock for other NFTs. So, you know, like the first projects that had this in their roadmap and actually deliver on it, I feel like the value of them is just going to go crazy. And
For sure.
You know,
sorry, real quick. LSH Tate is Lazy Superheroes.
Yeah.
It is the most valuable project on Hedera at the moment.
Wow.
Like I've heard some Lazy Superheroes selling for upwards of like 200,000 HBAR. It's nutty.
My
and then
God.
so the guy who created Exact Wallet, his name is Baptiste on Discord. He created that project. So because he has all of this development background and all of this you know, stuff that he's putting into it, people are very, very bullish on it and want to get in because they know that he ain't going nowhere.
Exactly.
This is his life.
And neither is HBAR though.
Yeah, neither is HBAR, but yeah.
But Bones, I got one question. So obviously when people are getting into the NFT space, they think, oh, this is just digital art. It has no benefit towards me. Like people, what I've realized is whenever you're getting into this space, you really want to look for utility when it comes to a project. Although the art might be amazing and it might look insane, if there's no utility backing it, there's really nothing behind it. What are some utility that you'll provide to your community?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, you know, utility, I will say this. I think utility is like a hot word right now, right? Everybody wants.
It's very broad.
It's like, yeah, it's like, what utility are you bringing? And like, for example, like full disclosure, everybody that, you know, knows about our project, you know, I'm very open about it. You know, we really don't have, you know, a dev team that works on our project. So currently the utility for our project is, you know, if you own, you know, 5 or 10, I should say, NFTs, you can get into squads. You'll get airdrops, NFTs. So you get a Charlie squad, Bravo squad, or you can own a single gold helmet, which, you know, we've got a holder here, Corbin, who has one, and we airdrop NFTs into there. So, you know, in a sense, it's kind of odd, right? So it's not like we're locking things up with smart contracts because, you know, we don't have the coding to do that. However, you know, I can just use a script and pull something from the mainnet that says, you know, hey, you hold this token ID. So now I know you've got this amount, this many. That means that you get you know, a certain discount if you're going to buy something from me, or that means that I know that you hold a certain amount of NFTs, and so you're supporting my project. So now I'm going to airdrop you, you know, an HBARMORY helm, or maybe a collaboration or something like that. So, you know, we're really just starting to get into this. So we've done airdrops pretty recently. We're getting ready to do another drop here. I had planned to do it this week, but unfortunately I'm not happy with where some of the art is. I'm being pretty picky with it. So I was like, all right, I don't want to drop something that I'll be upset that I pushed it too early. Sure. But essentially, you know, what we're using for utility right now is, you know, we're doing airdrops for holders, and that's based off certain levels. We've got it really easily laid out on our website, which is hbarmory.net. So if you click on utility there, it has like a nice little rundown of that, because I hope I'm not doing a terrible job of explaining it.
You're doing great, man.
You're doing great,
dude,
man.
keep it up. You're doing great, man.
It's kind of a run on. But so the idea is, and when we first started, we didn't have that, right? We didn't have utility, we didn't have airdrops, and I didn't really know. Not that I didn't know, I just didn't think that was something that we could provide. And as we're getting further into the ecosystem and it's maturing, I personally have stayed tight with Patches, who's a really great dev. I talk with DeepHub, and there's if you guys don't know, we signed on with Turtle Moon Tools, which is the launchpad. That's it's the biggest launchpad right now that is in the HBAR ecosystem. So you've got HBAR you've got Lil Monkeys, you've got a bunch of guys on there, Dead Pixels. Anyway, a lot of guys that are on there. So they're doing a lot of work. So we've basically signed on to say moving forward, after we launch our last little bit of Gen 1, we're going to be using them, and they're essentially going to be like, I don't want to say our dev team, but we're going to use their tech stack for what they build. So whether that's getting a coin for staking and farming your NFTs, if they do happen to come out with that at that point, we're going to use their tech to do that. And I think that that's a smarter way to do it, instead of me, somebody who's a pixel artist who goes and says, I need a dev, I don't know how to tell you to build what I want, but please build me utility. What I mean? Like,
developers. Yes.
The blind utility.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so in a nutshell, we're doing it kind of like, the rudimentary way, but we're still airdropping things to people, and we're doing giveaways, and that's what we're doing for now. And like I said, we're going to be moving into the last drop for HBARMORY, and then we are going to be moving into Gen 2, and everybody that is holding current Gen 1s is getting airdropped Gen 2. So it's kind of like
nice.
It's a big pro. Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't said that officially yet until now, but yeah, basically that's what we're going to be doing.
Breaking news.
People are going to have to tap in, that's for sure.
I will say though, it's a good question, but I do think there's like stigma with people with the utility thing, because I understand the question, and it's like, yeah, you need to provide utility, but I also think that it really puts a lot of pressure on people to try to do things, and it will do things that they're maybe don't know, or they don't, maybe they don't have the bandwidth to do it. So like, I will say this, just a disclaimer, like if you want to start an art project and you want it to be an NFT art project and that's it, like you're an artist and you make super sick art and everybody loves it, I don't think that you should feel pressured, let's say, to hire a dev or something. But just like I said, it's people aren't asking, I don't think necessarily asking for the world when they say utility. I wouldn't get scared of it, I guess, or maybe that's not the right word, or get overwhelmed by it. It's just like, if you're an artist and somebody holds some of your art pieces, maybe give them a discount on your future art, or maybe gift them some free art down the road. And I think that's a huge utility. You're getting an investment back from them, and God only knows, this is such a speculative space. Something you buy for 50 HBAR could be sold for several hundred, or 5,000. So and we're so early, just like we said. So, and there's really no way to know, there's no way to predict who's gonna pop off next. But I mean, it's like, okay, so if you got airdropped an NFT for free, and then that's worth 800 or 1,000. 5,000 HBAR in a couple of months, that's a pretty good utility. You know what I mean?
It's a great return, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So not to make that a huge run on, I'll just keep blabbing if you let me, but yeah, I wanted to make that clear, because I do think that there's some serious pressure on people that are trying to start out, when people say, what's your utility? And if you don't have utility, your project's not worth it. And I don't want to promote that stigma, but I understand also from an investment standpoint, you want to make sure you're investing in the right project. So it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I was talking to Cap about too. Are you aware of the HBAR underground server that
Unda.
he does.
Yeah.
Unda. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a group of a bunch of great artists in there. I've talked to quite a few of them. Obviously, the Creety boy himself as well.
Yeah,
There's a guy named have I shown you the Creets before, Tate?
No, I don't think so.
I will show you the Creets after this. Yes, they are quite disturbing.
I like his art though. Honestly,
I love his art, man.
It reminds. I've talked to him before quite a few times, and I think his art reminds me of Real Monsters.
Yes, that's what I thought too.
Yeah, that was an old school show, and it's very similar. It's very similar style.
But yeah, that's what I was talking to them about too. Like Cap reached out to me. He's like, "Hey man, I know you've been in the space for a while. I know you know everybody. But like, what can I do to make this better?" He's like, "We're all literally just professional artists. Like, what can we do to sort of advance the project?" And I'm like, Cap, like, there's a lot of different people that invest into NFTs for different reasons. There are people that do it for utility, so that would be your lazy superheroes and the ones that are popping off right now because there's that like initial, I guess, brunt of value.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people don't realize that if you purchase a piece from somebody who is a professional artist, there's a woman from Australia named Robin. She's fantastic. I forget how to say her last name, but she creates some amazing artwork. I'll show you some of her artwork later. Your jaw will be on the floor, Tate.
The fans will be able to see it as well.
Yeah. I'll have that on the video as well. But I was just saying that, like, you guys are making great art, and it's going to take a little bit for the people that are actually into the art side of NFTs to really get into the space.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like, and because it's art, everybody values things differently.
Yes.
Like, I love your stuff, Bones. It's how do I word this? Because I'm not trying to insult you in any way, shape, or form. It's simple, but like there's depth to it. That's why I really like it.
It's simple but complex from what it looks like.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Like, it takes effort to make. You can't just go on your own and make that stuff. You actually have to think it through. And like,
yeah, especially like the Pred helm. I can't imagine because of all the different, like, because they're not like square. How long that took you to properly like size and stuff.
It is hard, man. Like from what you're saying, and from a standpoint of like real artists in the space, like I've seen Robin's art. Her stuff is really cool, and it's very difficult to say like what is going to be appreciated in the space. You know what I mean? Because I'll see, just like what you're talking about, I'll see like real art, like people who are, I would consider very talented, and then I'll see them like struggling to sell a piece or something, and I'm just like, I don't know how, because I think their art is so good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's very odd that there's certain things that do well and things that don't, and I think everybody's trying to crack the code on what that is, but I don't know that you can. You know what I mean? It's just I really don't.
Yeah, you see beautiful art, and then you see CryptoPunks, and you're like, how does this correlate?
Well, and it's just everyone appreciates things differently, and I totally get what you're saying from a standpoint of like that. My art is simple, even from like a pixel art standpoint, and from where I started, HBARMORY and the first prototype helmet to where we're going now with finishing up Gen 1 is, it's a much different, more detailed helmet, but it's because people grow as an artist, and especially myself, even just from, that was October to, now February. It's been 5 months, but I look back then and I'm like, I could have done this different, or I could have done that different. But that's kind of the whole process. And kind of, in my opinion, what makes it cool is, you look back and it's an NFT. It's like, okay, so at that point, at this date, at this time, I minted this piece of art. So, in 10 years, I could look back and say, that's where I was in my career. That was my, my style at the time, or that's how I thought I should have shaded things. So as I make more art, move forward with the project, and, I do one-off stuff too. Like I made, the Wen Lambos, I made those little NFT factories for people. And that's things that really, honestly, a couple months ago, I never thought I could do, but it's just it's what it is, man. It's like we're all learning, and I think it's going to be cool to look back and see how all of the people that are in the space have developed over the time.
Yeah,
It's
enjoy the
cool.
ride, and consistency is key.
Yeah.
I mean, you grow as you learn.
Just don't run out of chalk.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
actually the story of that, by the way? Of why do you call them chalks?
Of a chalk.
Yeah.
It's actually not even close to what you think it is, I'm not gonna try and make this sound like hardcore because it is funny that you said it like that. It's not like sidewalk chalk. So I was a medic in special operations for like 4 years. I was a ranger in the military,
Wow.
And-
That's
for your
awesome.
service.
Absolutely. Thanks, man.
and I never know what to say back to that. By the way, I always feel sorry. I'm like,
I always
welcome.
wondered
You know what I mean?
what you would say back to that. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, you're good.
But
You're welcome.
exactly. If I say you're welcome, do I sound like a pompous prick? You know, like, you're welcome. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's always awkward. Just because I don't know what to say back. But yeah, chalk is essentially when you're lining up for an airborne operation. You know, everyone lines up, and it's for whatever reason it's called a chalk. I know there's a historical term behind it. I'll probably get like slandered for not remembering, exactly why they called it that. But it's been a while. I've been in the military for like 10 years. But yeah, so it's called a chalk. So when your troop goes up to load in the back of the aircraft, you're chalk 1 or chalk 2 or chalk 3. So I'm like, this kind of makes a lot of sense from a standpoint of like, I'm airdropping you tokens. So, if you're airdropping, you could call it a chalk, and it's clever and it
genius.
makes sense. But people are not everyone's from the military. Not everyone gets it, because it would be just like we're talking about, talk to people in terms of like, a 5-year-old or third grade level. It's like if I would have just went with what everybody said, drop 1, drop 2, people would understand it. But when I say chalk, people always ask like, what the hell is that?
It's like
So
a
it's
signature
kinda
thing
funny.
for you, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're also establishing a brand too when you think about it too, because you have all these
Yeah.
people that like really are interested in all of the work you're creating. It's basically a brand when you think about it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So yeah, that was the idea behind that. And it's just it's some cool history behind it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Oh, and every time I see you in Discord, you're doing this thing called Aseprite. Is that what you use to make the helms?
Yeah, and I have no idea how to pronounce that, by the way. If it's Aseprite or
Aseprite.
I don't know, but yeah, that is the program I use to make pixel art, and as far as I know, I believe it's like one of the better programs, and it's extremely cheap. It's like $20 on Steam, which
Wow.
is why I think Discord picks it up and tells people I'm playing. I've gotten that quite a bit from people. They're like, dude, you play Aseprite like 20 hours a day. Like, how do you have time for everything? I'm like, dude, I'm working. What are you talking about?
It's my job.
I'm like, dude, I'm constantly trying to make some. What do you mean? So yeah, that's pretty funny. But yeah, it's a great program for anybody that's trying to get into pixel art. You've got a computer. It does run on a tablet. You can also actually started off on a program called Pixel Studio on my phone, and it's all right. But if you're really trying to iron stuff out and make an NFT project, or even an animation or anything like that, Aseprite for pixel art's like the way to go. There's a bunch of really cool add-ons you can download for like $1. That makes it way easier to use too, so it's pretty sick.
That's awesome. So did you also make like the Win Lambo and the cards and everything in there too?
Yeah, the Win Lambo I made in there, the NFT factor, everything. So yeah, it's a lot when you think about making it, but honestly, if you just watch a couple like YouTube videos on how to animate things on the internet, which like big shout out to all people that I love to watch on YouTube and just things that I've learned from. There's a dude named Adam C. Eunice. He runs, I think his YouTube channel is called Indie Tales. He's got a great channel, and he doesn't do any sci-fi stuff that much, at least from what I've seen, which is not my style. But his art and the way he describes things is like to the T. If you want an art class, dude, you can sit down and watch this guy's channel and just learn
awesome.
everything you need to know. You know what I mean?
That's amazing.
Which literally broke my heart. I messaged him and was like, dude, can I send you an NFT? Like, I owe you so much for teaching me. And
Did he
was
accept
like,
it?
he was like, "Do I have to download anything?" And I'm not. This is, by the way, I'm not trying to like throw any shade his way because regardless of him rejecting my NFT,
Oh no!
I still have nothing but love for him. So yeah, he was like, "No, dude. Like, if I download something, then like I'm not going to." Which, if I was him and I was someone random be on the internet, like, "Hey, download this program so I can send you this thing on your computer," I probably wouldn't do it anyway. So.
Just send him a personal JPEG like everybody else steals from the internet.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, I'll have this minted in my wallet for you for whenever you want it. You know what I mean?
That's
But
clever.
yeah,
That's clever.
he's a good dude. He's got a lot of stuff on there, and there's another gentleman. God, what's his name? I'll figure it out later. But yeah, there's quite a few. If you YouTube, how to pixel art, there's quite a few good things to get started.
You can YouTube literally anything and find out whatever you want to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, and it's just fun when you're
Yeah.
getting started, and then I don't know, why I went down that path and started rambling about it, but
You're good, man. Do your thing. Get your word count in for the day.
yeah. So yeah, that's what it was, right? I got the question list here, Aseprite. So yeah, he uses Aseprite, and he teaches you how to use the program really well, and he's a good dude. So yeah, that's what I use, and there's all kinds of stuff out there. I would ask you guys a question when you look at NFTs and the future of things when we're moving towards what seems like the inevitable metaverse with the way things are going. There's a lot of hype right now around 3D. I was like 3D JPEGs, but 3D.
No, you're right. Yeah.
3D models.
3D
and stuff.
models and models and stuff. Yeah. Do you guys think that is necessarily the future of where things are going, or do you think that that's a fad and NFT
I only think it's the future if you're trying to implement yours into the metaverse, like to be an actual figure. I think you'll have to have some sort of 3D concept or construct behind your NFTs if it wants to be implemented, but I don't think it's technically like needed. Like you could definitely still hold it as an NFT that's just sort of like digital art in a way.
Yeah. Or another idea too would be as we get closer and closer to the metaverse and like all of these new development tools and stuff coming out, maybe somebody releases something that would allow an NFT creator to sort of move their 2D artwork into 3D. Because if you look at a project like Junkies, which is on the XRP ledger, they took essentially 2D pictures of these characters are called junkies. They're just like severed heads. It's
like punks but like junkified basically.
It's kind of hard to explain.
Yeah.
You kind of have to see it. I'll have some artwork up here so it makes more sense. But they essentially took that concept of those heads and they're actually like turning it into a full-fledged metaverse game. It's in pre-alpha right now, but like I see the two guys that are heading it up, and they're constantly every single day just sharing streams with each other so they can see their progress. It'd be cool to maybe see some helmets in there too. As like an accessory, little collab action.
That'd be cross compatible. HBAR XRP.
Yeah, we'll figure it. We'll work out that later. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think the future is going to be cross compatible, and it does
100%.
seem like it does seem that a lot of the XRP and HBAR community is very intertwined. I know a lot of the guys. I know a lot of the people that are invested in our project do also dabble in the XRPL and things like that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both very similar in their own ways.
What's weird too though is I almost feel like everybody's not everybody, but every chain is kind of got their own like style a little bit, like the way that they do their NFTs. So it's kind of cool to watch. I really like seeing everyone's projects pop up and just kind of what they do differently and all that. But it's cool.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
To kind of wrap this podcast up, what's your favorite helmet that you've ever designed?
Yeah.
Probably the one that Rudant just picked up.
The golden one?
The Turtle Moon Tools gold one.
Holy. Yeah, that one's really fucking nice.
That one's badass.
Yeah, I do like that one a lot. I just like the shell visor on it, and and the space background too.
Yeah, I was about to say you
that's
added
pretty
some
clean.
stuff in the background of it as well.
Dude, the background is what really killed it for me. I saw that go up for auction. I'm like, oh, no. Like, dude, if DJ would have entered in the auction, I would have cried. I would have been like, oh, great, I'm declaring bankruptcy, but at least I'll have a nice gold JPEG.
Well, dude, you've got, it's kind of funny because you see a lot of people in the community, and like everybody know the HBAR community is so small right now, right? There's like only, everybody's community is everybody's community. It seems like
Everybody knows each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, so which is cool, but like Rudant for sure, or sorry, Corbin's definitely got a title within the community for wailing around. So it's funny.
Wailing around, yeah, that's right.
Hey, chill.
It all started off with XPUNK, I'll tell you that.
Oh gosh.
That was the beginning of Corbin's reign.
Yeah, that was the beginning. Did I tell you about that, Bones?
No.
So I initially heard about XPunks on crypto Twitter because that's where all amazing things come from, right? It was just like randomly in my feed, and I'm like, huh, this looks interesting. And I was already kind of dabbling in the people were releasing all kinds of different tokens on the XRPL that weren't NFT related. They were just kind of little side projects that people were trying to get going. And that was the first sort of like NFT token sort of idea that popped up. And I saw it and I was like, well, this is modeled after like the Ethereum punks that are selling for hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars at this point. Like, this could potentially be somewhere. It was at like, 40, 50 XRP at the time.
Oh my god.
I'm like, I'm going to pick up 4. Just see where it goes from there. And then I watched its meteoric rise up to like 10,000 XRP each.
Damn.
In a matter of a week.
And then, so I would pull out a little bit of it when I would see a new project come in, like Bored Apes was one of them, and then X Shrooms and Junk, and I would pull a little bit out of that, because then into those new projects, they would start off at like 10, 20 XRP, and then people would start to hear about them, and then they'd pop off, and I'd make like 10x, just like that. Again, like a matter of like a couple days.
And that was the beginning of Rudon.
I mean, that's how it starts, though, right? Like that's you get a taste for it, and you're like, okay, like now I get it.
Dude, it's so addictive.
It really is.
It's like your options, Bones. It's actually a genuine problem.
I went through the chats once, and I just saw Corbin just going back at it nonstop with people, and it's just funny to see because he does not give up at all.
No, and I wish you would enable sniping on one of them, because I really wish you could have seen. So there was this one auction that Panda Syndicate did, and there was a collaboration between HBARMORY and Panda Syndicate, and I was like, all right, well, I need to get my numbers up because I need to get up my squad, right? So I see these cool. I'll show you those later too.
Sure.
They're it's essentially his like Halo Master Chief inspired helmets on a Panda.
Yeah.
And like it just melds really well together. And I was like, okay, I really dig this. So there was a hard time limit on it, right? So I guess I'll just put all my secret out there, because nobody's doing the hard cutoff for the auctions. So somebody would put in a bid, and I would just kind of watch it, right? The last minute would come through, and I would type in, like 100 HBAR over. Or if I really, really wanted it, I would do 200 or 300 HBAR over in case somebody else threw in another bid. And I would watch the time on my Apple Watch for the exact second that it was going to be, that the next minute was going to come through and that the auction was going to end. And then, so it would hit like 58, and I would press enter. So I guaranteed was the last one in, except for this one that was, it was a golden helmet. I'll never forget this. It was like the only one that somebody outdid me. Oh, wow. So it was me, it was DJ, and it was, I forget who else it was. It might have been like Crypto Dad. It was probably Crypto Dad. Yeah. But so we were all just going at it, like 2K, 3K, 4K, 5K. And then, so DJ puts in a bid, I put in a last second bid, and literally like a quarter of a second after I put in mine, he put a bid like 1K over, and I'm like, oh, okay, well.
Just take it. Just take it.
Just, here, handshake, just, oh, God. It was...
Yeah. It's interesting too because the anti-snipe stuff, it on one hand I think people don't like it because you can't snipe it, which is fair. Like I totally get that side of it. But on the other hand, too, a lot of people actually want it. They want it on there because then it just adds time, right? So it adds time. So whoever really wants it can get it. You know what I mean? So I see both sides of it for sure. And I remember, like you said too, you're like, oh, we can't snipe this one. All right, well, I didn't want to have to pay extra to outbid somebody, but I could snipe.
I guess I'll throw in that extra money.
It's funny.
Yeah.
And full disclosure on those, by the way, the Panda Syndicate, those dudes are awesome. And that collab, I legit I didn't even touch the art with that collab. That was all
that was all Lazy Day?
Yeah, that was all Lazy Day. Yeah, he basically did the whole thing, and then they were like, "Hey, I made these, and do you like them? I think they're sick." And I was like, "Yeah, they're really sick."
Dude, have you
seen?
Like,
let's go ahead. Like, let's do that. Yeah, that dude's a really good artist.
For sure.
I think he was on Ethereum, and I'm gonna find his.
I didn't even know that. I haven't actually researched any of his backstory, which I probably should have because I'm an elite panda, which is like the tip top of the thing. If you become an elite panda, you become a creative director as well. So
you get to basically design the art without designing.
Well, no, you get to approve or reject designs, or like if it needs a little thing or whatever.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Yeah.
That's...
And no, he's and actually I mean you can talk about it all you want. I'm an ancient panda, so I got, or I think what is it, first five or ancient. So I got my little title in there, Yeah, I don't know. Unfortunately, I think I don't pay enough attention just because I'm too busy in Aseprite organizing tiny squares. But
yes, you're valuable tiny squares.
Yeah.
But sorry, go ahead.
Just real quick, anybody who is listening, Lazy Day's Twitter is at LazyDay_STD. He's a really just super cool artist.
Yeah, he is really cool.
Do you want to plug your Twitter?
Yeah, plug your Twitter, bro.
Yes, my Twitter. You guys can reach me on at HBARMORY, just HBARMORY, which is how people talk about butchering the name. That's how everyone usually pronounces it. Just HBARMORY.
It'll be in the title, so they won't have.
Yeah, or after the whole, you need to have a artist name other than HBARMORY. I do also have another Twitter at Bone Pixel is kind of like my artist one, and I do plan on posting things that are maybe not sci-fi related, but more just kind of like random pixel art stuff on there as well. So in the future, when I doodle things, I'm probably gonna make a I guess I'll call it a sketch pad or something like that, but just an NFT line of random things that I decide to make, which, ironically is pretty important when you're trying to, figure out how to do certain things, and instead of just throwing them away, maybe somebody will think they're cool.
You know what you could call it?
Hit me with it.
The leftover bones.
There you go.
Wow, that's clever. That's very clever.
Damn, I forgot what you were saying. I knew you were gonna ask me something. I think I walked over your question.
No, you were just asking about your Twitter.
Yeah, that was all.
Yeah. The other thing that's, well, I hate to go this far back, but it just reminded me. I didn't know if I was able to say it or not. But the other thing that's interesting too about Panda Syndicate as well is they're gonna start doing loans for certain NFTs that they do. So essentially what you do is it's almost like staking, but basically what you do is the panda that you buy, you can then essentially give it, I don't know exactly how this process is going to transpire yet. I don't know if there's like any information on that out yet, even to us elite pandas. But essentially you'll be able to take your panda, and I think it just goes back into the main wallet, and then it's tagged with your wallet ID. And then essentially you get a set amount of HBAR back, essentially. And then you can do what you want with that HBAR, and then you just pay it back at some point. I don't know about interest. I don't know about, if you can do payments or like how any of that works, but it's just a really, really interesting concept on their part.
It's very interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really... they're a really good team, and at one point, the gentleman or the guys that run that project is his name was I don't know if it is anymore. It was the Hedera family, and he had his own NFT line.
Yeah, his name's Ancient Panda now. Because everybody didn't know what to call him. So I'm like, what do I call you? Do I call you Head? Do I call you Hedera? What do I?
Yeah, so he ran into the same problem I did. It's a common
Head
problem
Panda.
apparently.
Head Panda.
No, he's a really good dude, and so yeah, he was. They were actually in our Discord as like a featured artist for a little bit until they did their thing, and they are just their whole story is cool too because they did they brought them over from ETH. They had launched some of them on ETH, and then they brought Lazy Day over with them, and they've got a lot of cool ideas too. And I think I'm just curious with HBAR and with NFTs, right? Like there's kind of like two stances that people seem to be taking with utility, to bring it back to that conversation, since we're talking about like loans and that kind of stuff, which is just really cool. A lot of people want to play it safe and not offer staking or anything like that because they're trying not to get seen as a security and get wrecked by the Fed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
Gary Gensler out there with the hammer.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Nobody knows where that's going. And then there's like the other complete side of it where people are like, yeah, well, fuck that. Like I'm gonna like send it to the wind, and you're gonna get staking rewards, and you're gonna get 50% HBAR back and all this stuff.
And here's our token.
Yeah, dude. And I don't know where the line is because when I think about utility as a project, like you were talking about earlier from investor, it's like hell yeah. Like if I'm involved in this project and I'm getting my HBAR back, like that's a win-win. But But at the same time, if 3 months down the line, Gary Gensler comes out and is like, here's a cease and desist letter, and I really don't think that it's gonna get to that point, at least not for a really long time. I don't think us small guys would be on the list, but I do think that there's something to be said though, where you kind of got to think about that because you don't know how long you're going to be in the game, right? Like if you're relevant and your art's good for 10 years and 15 years or 50 years, if you did something in the first 6 months to get some clout and then get wrecked 10 years later, like that's not smart either. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Yeah.
I struggle with that, man, because I see stuff like that. I'm like, God damn, I want to do that. But then I'll talk to like Patches or like any of the other guys in the community that understand the laws a little better, and they're like, yeah, that's basically suicide. Like you're just asking for a lawsuit if they ever come for you know what I mean? But then you'll talk to the guys that are on the side of it, and they're like, yeah, you think the SEC's looking out for us little guys? I doubt it. You know what I mean? Never gonna sue us. So it's like totally two separate schools of thought. I don't know which one to prescribe
hard to pick.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you do end up getting sued, you can always call up Ripple. They got some experience with that.
Yeah, lots of experience.
It's kind of funny actually. You're guys talking about the XRPL earlier, so I'll talk on that a little bit. I've never messed with the XRPL. Are you basically getting issued? I've heard the term IOU token. I think that's a horrible term. Like an IOU token just sounds so terrible.
Sounds like a security.
Yeah.
Hey, chill, bro, chill. We don't need the feds in here.
Or 150 subs. One of them is a fed. No, I'm kidding. No.
We love
Yes.
Do you guys? Like what's going on with that? Like what is the XRPL gonna issue you guys? Is it legit? It's going to be NFT, so you trade in your token for an NFT? Because it seems like we're in two separate worlds from like HBAR. We've got minting, but we don't have secondary markets. Where it sounds like you guys have markets and secondaries, but no NFTs.
Well,
that's basically what it is. We do have the markets. We just aren't able to see our physical NFT or digital NFTs.
Yeah, it's a different scenario because there's a decentralized exchange built into the XRP ledger itself. So while you're not actually trading physical artwork, you're instead trading tokens that are going to be redeemable for NFTs when the
XLS 20D.
Yeah, when XLS 20D actually gets implemented into the ledger, and they have a testnet out right now that developers are currently working on right now. And the mainnet, I have no idea when that's going to come out. Probably,
hopefully, a couple months from now.
Yeah. Let's hope.
Soon TM.
Yeah, soon TM, exactly.
Yeah. A lot in the
Yeah,
works,
it's
that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you don't know soon TM until you've had to deal with not being able to move any of your NFTs for like 3 months.
Yeah, that's rough.
God, dude.
That is a hard life.
Oh
That's
my
a very
God.
hard life.
It was so bad.
Yeah,
Ugh.
yeah, we experienced that pretty roughly.
Yeah, so like what actually happened on like I don't really know that much of what happened, because I know that like one day I was able to trade my NFTs, and I understand the royalty system wasn't working for them, but like you're still able to move them around, and then one day suddenly it was like, oh nope, can't do that anymore.
Yeah. So basically, what happened is that I'm gonna try to do my best to make this like factual, because
Yeah,
I
no,
it's
we don't
not
need
my
any
story.
like finger pointing or anything. Like it's
It's
just what
not-
happened
it's
happened.
It's not my story to tell, but to my
Fair.
understanding, right? To my understanding, what happened is, somebody, Zach said that they had a semi-custodial wallet, right? So we were sending NFTs with Zach and signing transactions and hitting accept, and the way they were doing that was that your private keys were being sent out of the wallet through their server and being signed off on, which they were using 100% of the secure measures. If you were going to be sending PKs out, like that's the way that you would want to do it. So they had like a double backup and all this stuff. So anyway, long story short, apparently that was not known in the ecosystem, that was how they were sending transactions, and a lot of people didn't like that, and so Zach kind of shut it down and said, okay, well, if that's not what people want, then we're not going to do that anymore. Which, like, I love Zach, I love Baptiste and those guys over there, and
Yeah, they work very hard.
Yeah, and they're literally like, I think it bums me out because I think everyone's very, very. We have like amnesia, as a species, and it's very easy to like get stirred up by people. And everybody kind of, in my opinion, overreacted to this, because look at what happened, right? So everyone said, oh my God, my keys were being used, which again is not ideal, but no one got hacked, no one lost an NFT, no one lost a single HBAR. They were 100% truthful in how it was transacted, but due to the backlash, they said, all right, well, we're going to shut this down because this obviously isn't what the market wants. That's my understanding of it.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
I really wish if it was me, I would have said, okay, like, use at your own risk now, since you know what it is, and this is the solution for now. You know what I mean? And so back to the conversation where we had about Zach earlier, where it was like, are they coming back? This is something that I hear all the time, that I think is misunderstood as well, as the whole like RPC protocol. You hear May talking about it from Hashback all the time. Is that God, I hope I'm getting this right because I'm not technical. And to my understanding, Hedera is going to release an RPC protocol, which I don't even know what the hell that stands for, but basically it's a signing transaction, or it's the term I'm looking for. Basically like a blueprint of how to sign for transactions without your PKs leaving your wallet, right? I guess is the way that I look at it. And again, hope that that's right, but that's not been released from Hedera yet. So the other option is, if you're a wallet company, you can say, I'm going to build an RPC protocol. And if you spend the money and the time to pay a bunch of devs, God only knows how expensive devs are, probably,
Yeah.
hundreds of
money.
thousands of dollars, you
Way
know what I
too
mean?
much
Yeah.
money.
So if you're somebody who's, trying to be smart about it, you're not going to want to build your own RPC. And then, 3 weeks later, Hedera drops something that says, here's how you should have built your RPC protocol, and you go, oh shit. You know what I mean?
But
So
thanks for trying.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and it just sucks because like we wouldn't have a project if it wasn't for Zach, and I 100% look back at that as, Baptiste and those guys at Zach, regardless of your feelings of what happened, they released something that completely acted as a springboard for projects to launch into the Hedera ecosystem, mine included, and so I'm forever gonna look at them as like the people who really brought about that part of Hedera and really helped me get my project going. So, and I think that there's people who forget that, part
Yeah.
of it. So I get kind of irritated about it, as you can tell, but they're good people over there, and I don't like seeing their name, ran through the dirt. But
There's no Papi Chulo.
yeah. So, but like you said, the fallout of that was we had this huge, amazing ecosystem where it was like, I mean, it's like huge, but I mean, it was amazing. We were doing like transactions and sending people things left and right. And dude, you saw the prices of NFTs were going crazy. Everyone was buying things up, and then all of a sudden it was this happened. Now we can't trade. And then we had like a 3-month period where, we really, I don't even know if it was 3 months, but it seemed like 3 months where we couldn't trade anything. And so everybody that bought all these NFTs got like really cold feet and kind of weirded out by the ecosystem, it seems like, because like I don't know if you remember, but like the discords kind of like died off for a while.
Yeah, they did.
And we were like talking every day, and it's like, you could tell that the sentiment wasn't there with everybody, because everybody knew you really couldn't do anything, you know what I mean? So it was just kind of like, it was like the dark ages of the Hedera NFT ecosystem. But now we're back and we have all this amazing stuff.
Yeah. Now I'm at this point, I think we just need a good healthy dose of just new people. And I think that's really what's going to really kickstart it into gear, because like I've been trying to sell some stuff, gotten no bites. Zip zilch nada at floor prices for some huge projects like Shadies and Cosmos and all that stuff. And like I have not gotten anything. I got like a couple trade offers, but like everybody's NFT rich and like HBAR poor. That's that's essentially what's happening right now.
Yeah, they it's really, that's what I was kind of talking about earlier, like being patient with your NFTs, because I just don't know. We can only speculate, but from what I hear, right, like I know that people that are devs that know people that are trying to get into the ecosystem, there's a big demand of new projects that are coming up. I mean, if you look at like what is it, Lucky Monkey, they just came over from ETH, and then there's some other guys too that are coming over. It seems like the projects are starting to realize it, but it's going to be a matter of does the market follow them as well? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it will. I think even when you look at Solana to HBAR, people are starting to understand the whole like, okay, well, it's probably not smart to launch a big project on something that's going to get DDoSed into the dirt. You know what I mean? Like,
You got that right.
Not a good idea. Like, I need to trade this so I can, sell my $50,000 NFT or whatever it is. If you got a high-end NFT, oh, never mind, the network's been down for a week. You know what I mean? Like, that's probably not good.
Never mind, somebody actually stole my NFT.
Yeah, man, and like it's painful. What really sucks, and thankfully we haven't seen it here on the Hedera ecosystem, but I see it all the time on my feed. Like I just saw today was some like Sol NFT project, like some samurai project got rugged, but they said they got rugged for the second time. I'm like, how?
How does that work?
Exactly. I'm not trying to like throw salt or like laugh at them, but at the same time, I'm like, how do you get rugged twice? Like, what does that even look like? I don't even know. Like, thankfully, in the Hedera community, like I don't think anybody's been truly rugged. I guess to an extent, other than like the people getting sold fake art, but or stolen art, not fake art.
Yeah, or they got Sirvan.
Yeah, like that, like fully scammed. I don't think anybody's been like rugged yet, where they made a bunch of, like Patches talks about it sometimes, where it's these big projects are gonna come in, or big scammers gonna come in with like real legit high quality art, get everyone's liquidity, make their project look awesome, and then they're gonna pull it all out and then delete their Twitters. You know what I mean? Like that stuff. Yeah. Unfortunately, I think it is coming.
Yes,
it's already happening in a lot of other networks.
Quick side note: Sirvan he's kind of like I don't know if you'd call him an outlaw, I guess, but did that actually happen? Did he actually so apparently he scammed a bunch of people, and like
he was a scammer.
Yeah, so essentially he would be like, okay, you send me 6,000 HBAR for this piece, and I'll just send it back over to you, or I'll send the piece over. So for the longest time, it was just like a matter of trust, and like people that have really been a long time in the community, like me or whoever that's been in here forever, a DJ or anybody, like that's okay, because like we're not going anywhere.
Yeah,
we put way too much time and money into this. This is fine. But people like Sirvan would come along, and they'd be like, hey, send me 6,000 HBAR for this. So you'd send the 6,000 HBAR.
Never get nothing.
and he'd be gone. Or he would delete his Discord, and then he would come back in as with a different username, and that was some of the funniest. Dude, it was some of the funniest stuff. One of the first days I had actually joined the Crypto Dog server. I was just in there talking with Felix, and and just out of nowhere, Felix was, no, I actually think it was Vicente from Vicizi. We were talking, or maybe from Shady's, I can't remember. Anyway, somebody had mentioned that it was actually Sirvan. So like somebody had actually put together that this new person was Sirvan. So he had just joined the Crypto Dog server, and Felix was like, Sirvan, listen and listen here. You will be a good boy. I will give you this one chance.
Yeah,
Do
he's
not
like
tempt me.
legendary.
Dude.
Is he still around? Is he still around the communities? No.
I don't know. I haven't heard much.
If he is, he's operating under an alias. Well, dude, like Patches, there's like a whole bunch. I don't know the whole story, but it's like really funny how how things happen with him, because he tried to scam somebody with a glitch punk, which, like, if you don't know, the glitch punk from the HBAR right now is like one of the highest selling NFTs on the ecosystem. They're selling
It's like
for like 100,000.
Wow.
Yeah, they're selling for like 80,000, like 100,000 HBAR around there. And so he had one, and it's like, Jesus, I was like, how stupid scammers are, right? And we were just talking about being patient. He was trying to sell it for like, I don't know, a couple thousand HBAR or whatever it was, and
Wow.
he fucked it up, and he excuse my language, but he like messed it up and put it into some sort of trade, and it got hung up in the back end of the ecosystem. So it got hung up in what's called like an escrow wallet or something like that. And so the guy didn't get the NFT, and I don't know if he sent the money over or not. Like, I can't remember exactly how it played out. But Patches and the dudes over at Zact were able to like rescue the NFT from the back end of it, and then they were able to like auction it off for charity, I think. So it's like really funny how it worked out that like this dude's a total shitbag.
They finessed him. They finessed her.
Yeah, and then they figured out how to like get it out and like do good with it. So like it's just pretty awesome that's how that played out. But yeah, that dude is kind of known in the community, and unfortunately, like a criminal celebrity in the punks community.
A criminal celebrity. Oh my god, it's like Al Capone, but then in the NFT space.
Yeah.
But like, dude, when you think about that though, it's like, bro, if you would have just held that for like 2 to 3 months, he could have legitimately just sold it for $100K and made out on it, and like not, no shadiness, could have just held his shit and not been a dirtbag, and he'd be totally fine.
Kept his reputation and all.
It's just funny though. Like, it's like, when you think about that, it's like, God, dude, I don't understand it, man. Like, all these scammers and like people stealing art, if they put a little bit of time into just being like creative or doing something themselves, like, they would probably be better off.
Or just being half decent,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably a better one. That's funny.
Bones, is there any questions left that you have for us on this episode?
Jeez, I don't know. I think we've might have covered them all. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
We appreciate you coming on.
Mm-hmm, most definitely. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule of valuable small squares.
Yeah, I will say, I'll leave off on the valuable small squares. We are, if you guys haven't noticed yet, I did do the art for Moonshells, which is coming out soon, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. That's Turtle Moon Tools. We did the 333 generative art collab with them, which is pretty awesome. They're some super cute turtles. And then we are going to be, I don't have a date for when that's dropping, unfortunately. I think it's going to be, soon TM, but probably hopefully in the next couple of weeks. That's not an official date. That's just my hopes.
Soon TM is the official date.
Yeah, that'll be my official statement. But we will be dropping what we're going to call, the final drop for Gen 1 HBARMORY, which will be probably here, I want to say next week, if I can tie up this art, and then I will post publicly about that. And we're most likely going to just do it through secure trades on
through the
Discord.
But okay.
Yeah, through Discord and through like Google Forms.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's gonna be a mad scramble because he only releases like he doesn't release a ton of them.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think how many do you think is gonna be in the next drop?
So actually, we're doing it different on this one. We're basically, this is kind of a. I guess I brought this up earlier in the conversation, but it's good to end on because it is kind of gets stuck in everyone's mind, I guess.
The fool traded it to me for Eternian silver.
So we are going to be combining the last 3 chalks into basically just one big final drop, and so it's going to be all of the new helmets that we've been leaking, which is 4 of them. We're not gonna drop the first prototype helm because I kind of want to keep that, limited.
Corbin's
from
sitting
where it
here.
went.
Corbin's sitting here, aggressive.
So yeah, if you've bought the original prototype, those are not going to be offered in the last drop. So those will be kind of like, super OG status. And then this next part of the drop is going to be probably about 300 helmets. We're dropping the mint price. The mint price,
Wow.
the mint price of the original helms went from like 50 HBAR all the way up to like 800 HBAR mint price, which was the floor, which was determined by not us. I did get some flack for that, but the community had said these are the floor prices. We like put it to vote,
And we bought them.
and which and that's part of figuring this whole thing out, right?
Yeah,
So we're kind of just trying to do what is best and what everybody in the community says we should do. So we are going to be dropping the floor on this last final drop to probably like 400, right around the 400 mark, for these drops, and there's going to be about 300 of them, and then the trait for these will be the pred trait. So we're gonna, it's not just going to be the old school helm. There's only going to be, I have to look at the white paper. I want to say it's 12. It might be 13 preds. I think it's 12 and 1 gold preds, but I'm going to mix it in with the new helmet design. So there's probably going to be like 3 of each, or 2 or 3 of each almost.
I think I'm going to have to hop in
one.
on this collection.
The fool traded it to me for Eternian silver.
Bones, I can hear my wallet screaming from here. I'm crying.
So yeah, we're gonna drop the additional helms, which they're it's kind of funny if you look back, like we're talking about, it's kind of an interesting look at the whole project. You can see where we started and kind of where the Gen 1's ending. There's definitely more detail to it, and we're adding, we have the additional backgrounds and that sort of thing. So it's gonna be a cool way to end it out. But I always want to bring it back and always have like the old school status on the the original prototype and investors. So like I said, we are bringing some utility with that as well. We are going to be airdropping Gen 2s to the people holding those. It's going to be pretty sick.
Hell yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Tate, if you mint that gold cred, I swear.
Hey, then we'll be twins. We'll both have one.
Hey, then you can get an Alpha Squad too.
There you go.
Yeah. All right.
And just to clarify too, essentially, I haven't worked it out yet, but the Gen 1 stuff, with how we've worked out the utility for those, wondering, I know I mentioned Gen 2 a few times on the podcast, is we're going to be using the Gen 1 helms moving forward as like that's the keys to get into the squads and the airdrops. So there'll be other utilities with Gen 2 that we come up with and release when we come out with that. But the idea moving forward is that all the early supporters that helped us get off the ground and get moving are going to be continually airdropped and taken care of, and those will be the guys that if a couple of years from now or 6 months from now, if somebody wants to get in on a free airdrop from Gen 2 or whatever we have planned for at the time, like they're gonna have to buy a gold helm off Rudon or somebody to make sure they get it. So that's the plan. Anyway, we're
$1 million.
Yeah, so we're really trying to tie in that utility to make sure we reward the guys that really took care of us when we first started out,
who've stuck through the thick and thin, and that's all
Yeah.
that matters. I appreciate the ones who've been there from the start.
Absolutely, yeah. And like I said, I really, this whole thing's been crazy. I when I started this, it was I'm posting pixel art about helmets and things that I think is cool. People said they liked it. We started a project. It sold out, and then we moved this. It's just escalated so quick, and now I do this full time, and it's just I really can't thank like everybody that started supporting us and does support us. It's just amazing.
And we thank you for coming on this podcast to spread all of your valuable information to our fan base.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, man. It was a lot of fun, guys. Thanks for having me.
Indeed. Oh, quick shout out to Binx. So, Binx was sad that we didn't invite her. So, I have to give her a quick shout out so she doesn't hate me forever.
Shout out to Binx. We
Shout
love
out to
you.
Binx.
We love you.
Yes, indeed.
And we love everybody who stuck through this whole entire episode. We know it's probably one of our longer ones. But
yeah. But that's okay.
Yes.
That's why we love Bones. He's the Encyclopedia Britannica of HBAR.
Yeah, I probably dragged that on a little bit with how much I talk, so don't let me talk again or I'll just keep dragging it on.
Hey, it's all good, man. It's all good. I'm the one that'll have to edit this, and I'm totally okay with it. This is probably about 3 times the length of our normal episodes, and you know what? I'm 100% okay with that.
And if anybody out there who's still listening in, if you need any more information on HBAR, we have episode 2 out now.
Yep.
And we're providing tons of information on that. I get people telling me every single day they learned so much info from our HBAR podcast.
Yep. You can find us on quite a bit of quite a few different Discords too. You can definitely find me on the HBARMORY one. My name is Roof Centipede. I'm not gonna go into it. Not here. Nope. Nope. Absolutely not. But it's a long story. But yeah. Anything else, Tate?
No, all of Bones, his Twitter, the Discord link to his server will all be in the description. Yep, and if you're curious in buying HBARMORY's NFTs, feel free to get in contact with Bones.
Yeah, or check out the server. There's actually a couple channels for both the actual helms and the and just like stuff that other people are trying to sell as well, just like random stuff on there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the best way to try and snag up a helm right now is jump in Discord. There's the prototype market channel, which is dedicated to strictly HBARMORY helms, or look for the next drop. That'd be the best way to do it. Or check out the secondary.
Nice. Yeah, and you can also thank you for putting this too, Bones. There's actually a separate channel specifically to see what the floor price is for each variant, because he's done different ones of where there's just like a normal prototype, and then he'll do like a ninja. And it'll have like the Hidden Village of the Leaf on it, dude. It looks great. I'll show you that later.
That's insane.
Or like there's this one called ABFT, and it like the visor, like there's a line that moves on the visor.
Wow,
dude, it looks so good. It's yes.
That's awesome.
Those are a lot of fun to make.
I bet, man. I bet. The tiny square man himself.
All right, guys, you're gonna let me keep talking.
Oh,
I'm gonna run it on for another hour.
We could go on for hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bones, thank you for your time.
Absolutely, Bones, dude. You are the man.
We hope to have you on again.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys. I'll be listening in.
Yes.
Have a great night.
Yeah. Have a good one, Bones. Well, good afternoon, I guess. He's a couple hours behind.
Oh, yeah.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry. That's fine.
Nice work, Bone Daddy.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right. I'm going to end the Canadian standoff right here because you guys are being too nice. I'll see you later.
All right, yeah, we're doing the Italian, the family goodbye, where we say goodbye for like an hour, and then we tell a story in between the goodbye. And,
No, you say goodbye. No, you say goodbye.
It's fine. It's fine. But yeah, anyway, Bones, take it easy, man. It was nice talking with you, brother.
All right. Later.
See ya.